welcome, Tina. You're calling in from
Austin, Texas.
Austin, Texas.
Well, technically Buda, Texas is about 6 miles south of Austin.
Austin. I spent a couple nights in Austin once. I interviewed for a television job in Austin.
Really?
Yeah. And I had no intention of taking it, but it was a free trip to Austin. So I went down and interviewed. And the guy was like, "You don't want this job, do you?" And I go, "No. But thanks for having me in."
Yeah, no kidding. It's a great city. It's a great city.
Yeah, that was before it got whatever it is now,
Back when it was cool. It's still cool, but I think it was cooler back then.
Well, it's the same thing that happened to Nashville, kind of. I mean, they're kind of like sister cities in a weird way, musically, especially. Music is a key point of Austin and always has been. In Nashville's, they both started blowing up.
Yes.
In the 90s. Or no?
Late 80s, 90s. Yeah.
Yeah, whatever. I always lose track of that. That 2000 thing screws me up. But anyway, so you spend a lot of time. Austin's a beautiful city. I know that. And there's a lot of training there that goes on.
It is. We have some very, very fit people in this town. And, I spent some time here before because my husband's from Texas, and then we moved away to go to Florida for a little bit, and then we came back. And when I came back, I went on a trail run, and I was like, man, these people are still really fast here. And I think it's because it's a college town, so the population is always very young. And man, you just, I came back and I was older, and I was like, man, these kids are fast.
Yeah, I hear you. Do you ever run into Lance Armstrong around there?
I saw him occasionally, yeah, on his bike, because he rides, of course, the hills, and you're not sure if that's him from a distance, and then you're like, oh yeah, there's him. So
you just go catch him. I know how you are on a bike.
No. That would be him being way ahead of me on a hill.
Yeah. Speaking of, let's just start there. Well, let's start there because unless you want to talk about, let's talk about what you do personally or your career, or if you want, or what your passions are outside of the sport. And then we can go into the recent European cycling extravaganza.
Yes. So professionally, I work for a tech company here in Austin. I am, my formal title, I think, is something like workforce project partner. So what I do is I manage the efficiency of our part-time workforce to make sure that they're all working efficiently, and it has to do with staffing and their production, how much they're able to produce. So there's a couple hundred of them, so it takes a few of us to actually do that. But it's fun. It's a great company. I enjoy it. Every day is a little bit different, which is what I like. I like that variety. I like trying to solve problems and just help people. That's tends to be my natural thing that I like to do, and so I think that kind of rolls over into endurance sports too.
Yeah, you do like helping people. You're a very nice person.
Yeah, thank you.
And you take care of yourself. I mean, that job sounds stressful to me personally, but I like looking in there every once in a while and seeing spa day, taking the day off. I mean, you're pretty good at that, and I love it. I mean, I'm the same way. I mean,
yeah, I listen to my body, what it tells me, or before it tells me something, I was like, okay, it's been a while since I've had a massage. I need to go get one before things start to just hurt or start feeling weird.
Yeah, you stay ahead of it. I give you that for sure. Yeah. And do you have anything else that you love doing outside of triathlon?
I do. I am a pickleball player.
Yes, pickle racket.
I know pickleball makes Robbie cringe, but I'm determined to get him to try and play at some point when I see him. But I play for fun. I started playing back when I lived in Florida with my uncle, who is a senior citizen. He's early 70s now, and we would partner up and play mixed doubles. And it was fun, just playing with family. And, we talk a lot of crap to each other when we're on the other side of the net. So that kind of lights a fire under us a little bit. But yeah, that's my other thing that I like to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fun. It's hand-eye coordination. The movement of it is completely different. You have to think a little bit differently,
Yeah.
So it's very different, but I love it.
No, I think it's a blast. It's like it's kind of a cross between tennis and ping pong, really,
Mhm.
and it is a lot of fun. I didn't realize it was that deep of a passion for you. Do you have like a whole wardrobe of pickleball clothes?
It's running clothes. For me, it's running clothes.
Because they have that, right? Like like tennis.
Yeah, some people, yeah, it's almost very similar. Like, so sometimes you'll meet triathletes that will say, "Oh, did you see the latest update from, I don't know, one of the pro triathletes, right? He's doing this now." Same thing in pickleball. "Oh, did you see this new paddle that so and so put out?" I'm just like, I don't care.
Yeah,
I was like,
I,
I'm just here to play.
yeah. I kind of feel like that's how you approach triathlon a little bit.
Sometimes I've learned a few things. I feel like,
Well, I
the
mean, you like
way.
to enjoy it. I mean, I don't, it's like you don't want to get too like. I mean, you're doing it for yourself, and I feel like you love it, and you don't want to get like overly stressed about the stupid things.
Yes, but it took me years to
Oh,
understand
okay.
it and to get there. Um, when I got into triathlon back in 2011, um, I had just turned, I think I just turned or I was about to turn 40 years old. I was unhealthy. I was at my heaviest weight. I didn't feel good. I just went for an annual checkup, and my cholesterol was through the roof. Um, Genetically, that's just something that runs in my family, but I didn't want to take meds. I didn't want to take any medications. I was like, okay, let me just, get off the couch and do something. And so, like a lot of people, I went and joined a gym, right? And so I started with spin classes, and the first one just was so hard. I mean, I could barely breathe, but I just kept going back. And my spin instructor was always coming in and talking about these really beautiful rides that he went on over the weekend. And after I kept hearing that, I was like, I want to learn how to, ride a bike and go on these beautiful rides. And so my husband Tavas went and found me a used vintage Bianchi that was dying in somebody's garage. And
I bet he drove a hard bargain on that bike too.
actually, we got it. I think we got it for super cheap or either free
I
because
know.
it was dying.
I know how he operates.
And the bike was too big, but I rode it. And a couple months later, I was like, okay, I'm starting to get the hang of this, but I need a bike that fits me. So started to ride with the group rides and kept going to spin class. And then one day, the same spin instructor, he was talking about this rookie triathlon that's coming up. And he walks around the room while he's giving instruction, and he's like, you should sign up.
Yeah.
And I was like, looked at him, I was like, I don't even know how to swim. I was like, I will drown. And he was like, but that's okay, you can just doggy paddle. And I was like, I don't think so. But then of course, I caved into the peer pressure and I signed up.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so I took a couple of lessons, but just enough to kind of sort of get the feel for the water, but not what I feel now, right?
Right.
So it was a super sprint. The swim was 400 meters, and that was the swim of my life. I thought I was going to die. My heart rate was high. I've never open water swam. I get my face in the water, I can't see. I think it took me like 27, 28 minutes to swim 400 meters.
Okay. I get it. I get it.
I was freaking out and I couldn't breathe. I'm on my back and just all kinds of things. But when I hit the shore, I was like, okay, I didn't die. Keep going. So I did finish. But when I finished, I was like, man, that was really hard, but I can do better.
Mm,
And so that's when it started. I went and got like a formal swim coach, and it just kind of, went down from there. So that's where it came from. So it basically just, I got thrown into the water literally, and I was not a good experience at all.
no.
I could have quit, right? But I was like, no, I want to figure this out.
Wow. I just marvel at how many times I hear that story or something
Yeah.
similar. Yeah, with people that started. I mean, it happened to me. I'll never forget. It was a pool swim, I believe, and no, actually, the one I remember was the pool swim first sprint, and I remember it being one of those zigzaggy things, and people were swimming over me, and then I tried to stop, but it was in the deep end, and I went down, and I was like out of breath. It was really really a harrowing experience. But I love what you said about how you got out and you were alive, and then you wanted to do better. And I think that it just something about it pulls you in. And then I don't know what you did next, but where did you go right up to, like an Olympic or something?
No, so I stayed at just doing regular sprint distances. So I here when they used to have a bunch of local races, I think the longest swim might have been 750 meters. Um, but yeah, I just kept at it. And even though I went and actually found a formal like swim coach, it was still hard because I was making it hard in my head.
Yeah.
Because I just had a fear of, I'm going to drown or I need to keep moving or just every possible thought. When you're swimming, it's you and your thoughts will just kill it in the water if just let it overcome you.
Right.
And I didn't know at the time how to try to control that.
Yeah. It's so much about relaxing. Yeah. Because
Yes.
we're just not used to being active in the water like that. And your
No.
mind does go sometimes to the worst place.
Yeah, and I didn't grow up around water, so my memories of water were, in a swimming pool where I could touch the ground or, in an ocean, but I never went deeper than, my waist, right?
Yeah, right.
So
So tell me, like, in that time, where how do you feel about your swim now? Because I just think that, when we start when we're 40 or 50, it's very, very difficult to get good at, but you can get good enough. I don't know where you feel like you're at or how much better you think you can get. I just talk about that for a minute.
yes, so when I am actively training and focusing on my swim, um, I'm in a good place. I'm able to kind of nail down what my times are per 100, control my efforts. My stroke is in a good place. I can tell I have a good feel for the water. We talk about that all the time
Mhm.
on the podcast, right? And so understanding those little pieces and how to find that feel. And if I just move something a little bit differently, then I understand what that does to my body positioning. Um, but like right now, I just got back in the water, right? After being out of the water, I think for about 3 months,
Yeah.
just because, we're training for other things. I feel like a fish out of water right now. It's my breathing is okay, but it feels like I'm being reunited with it. So I feel like I'm having to start over with the buoy and the paddles just to get the feel for the water again and to find my rhythm. So
Mhm.
I know it'll come back. I just have to keep putting my toes in the water, right, and just keep going back and starting off slow. Even though we always have expectations for ourselves, like, okay, I'm going to go back and I'm going to be right where I left off. But no, I must be like 20 to 30 seconds slower than when I was 3 months ago. Or June. I think the last time I got in the water was June, so it's October now, right?
I love that you're laughing about that because most people would just be furious. Damn it, I
Yeah.
blew it, but you know it's going to come back.
Yes. No, for sure.
Mhm.
No, I have no doubt. It's there.
Like, at the essence of all this stuff, what do you love so much about the sport? I mean, you just seem really at peace and harmony with it most of the time.
I love the variety um, of doing different sports. I think if I was only a swimmer or if I was only a cyclist or only a runner, I might get bored. Physically, I feel like that would also take a different toll on my body.
Mhm.
Um, I think having different sports helps my body use different muscles and move differently. Um, but in addition to that, the community, I love the community that I have around me virtually and locally. Um, I've made some lifelong friends and we support each other and when we're struggling and we'll push each other when we need to, we talk about life. So just having that community means a lot to me too.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, let's be honest. You do triathlon so you can kick your family's ass in pickleball.
I will admit that I do have an edge on, sprinting off of the court and getting right back into position.
Getting right back to position.
Yes, absolutely. Because I know if I'm off the court, that I left a huge spot open for them to like kill the ball at me. So I just go right back there and people are like, whoa, you came back fast. I'm like, yep.
Yeah, I'll out endure you.
Yes.
Um, I thought, some of the challenges that we about the sport. Maybe I thought maybe I don't know, how it ranks, but I know that when I saw you in Rockford, that had to be a challenging day. And I mean, I didn't know if you wanted to maybe like just talk about how you got through that day because it was a very, very difficult for so many people. It was hot. I mean, I think it was way hotter than people anticipated, and
Yes.
that kind of thing, it crushed a lot of people's races. And I saw you out there. You were just hanging tough, man.
And Rockford was tough for me. And one of the biggest challenges that triathlon has given me is developing that strong mental game, right?
Mhm.
Because the moment your mind starts going negative, or you tell yourself you want to quit, or walk, or just get off your bike, you're done, right? But to recognize that you got to spin that around into a positive, or maybe just wait it out and see what happens because what you're feeling is probably just temporary. So when we were in Rockford, I was on the bike and it was somewhat windy. Um, yeah, because and that's the thing I learned, right? When you go and, because I've been traveling for races and, last year was all up north. And when you get into those open cornfields, it is very windy. There's no hiding, no. And so that's what happened in Rockford. And I forget what direction we had turned, but I don't know, a gust of wind got me and I was in aero and my front wheel just turned. And when it turned it turned pretty sharply and it kind of tweaked my back a little bit. And I didn't fall over, but I was like, oh, something's not right. And as I kept pedaling, and I think that was probably somewhere like mile 25, 26,
Mhm.
it started to like really hurt. Um,
Yeah, that's a weird thing.
yeah, and I am so adamant about doing core work so stuff doesn't happen like that. So I kind of got pissed when that happened. But and I got to mile 30 and I was really telling myself just get off, quit, right? And I was like, no, if I can just make it to the run, get off the bike, maybe I'll feel better. So I was able to give myself that chance. And I told myself, okay, just 5 miles at a time. And that's what I did. And so I get off at a T2 and I was like, okay, let me just jam some ice down my back and numb it, right? Because it was pretty tight. And I said, and if I can numb it, I can just keep running. It took about probably 30 minutes for that ice to kick in, because it was hot, so it was melting fast. So I had to keep putting it in there at every aid
Right,
station. But then I was like starting to feel better, and I was like, okay, let me try running. And then I was like, okay, I'm starting to feel pretty good. So I gave myself that opportunity, because if I would have quit, you know, I don't know how I would have felt if I quit. I would have been disappointed that I didn't try harder. So really just having that mental game to push through that. You know, it's taken years to just develop that and to learn how to maneuver and pivot when your mind starts going south.
yeah, yeah. You know, and as a coach, you know, when I am on site like that, and I saw you, and you know, it's like it is one of those things where, again, you know, I don't really know what to say. I'm just there, you know, but I could, you know, you try to say what you think will help or whatever, and you're just like, yeah, don't worry about it. I got it under control because I could
Yep.
see in your mind you were just because you're formulating that the whole time, and I'm going to come out and say, hey, you know, just think about, you know, flowers or something. You know, it's like I'm not going to come up. You know, maybe I have a good line or something, but it was interesting to me because I saw in your mind it was your eyes, but it was beyond your eyes that you're just like, I'm in, I know what I got to do and get the hell out of my way.
And figuring it out, learning how to figure things out when things don't happen the way you intend them to happen, um, is another thing that I've learned. It's challenging, right? Because if you make the wrong decision, you're screwed. But you know, given that it was so hot, and I live in a hot state, right? So you would think I would be used to that heat, but I don't run at 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon ever because it is so hot. So you know, just taking your advice and doing everything to cool your body down, I did it, and I think that's what helped me get through that run.
Yeah. And I love what you're saying. It's so procedural out. You know, I haven't I just sort of said something and I came up with this thing. It's my new saying is like you got to do the work. Then when you're in the work, you got to figure out what you're doing.
Yeah.
And that day you went, I mean, because it's always different. And that day you had to figure out a whole new thing, but hopefully all the training together kind of gives you enough, you know, kind of things to pull from as you're going and figure it out. And I think that's great that that is one of the things that the sport has given you is how to figure out solutions and get through and be mentally tough because it really is. I mean, it's so easy to just to kind of flip that switch off and just walk off to the, you know, car or the hotel room or whatever.
Yeah, because I could have quit and nobody would have cared, but I would have cared, and I was not ready to
I would have
say
cared.
I didn't try. Yeah, well, yeah, you would have cared.
Oh, what a cutie. Behind
Yeah, she's pretty calm. She just came busting in here like she owns the place.
Yeah. And I knew that you didn't want to, I mean, I knew that, you know, you were just figuring it out, you know, it was like, this day is a bunch of shit on my plate and I have to sort through it. And that's what you did. And I thought that
Yeah,
was really cool.
that was the first race that I did not get an official time because I came in, I think, a couple minutes after the cutoff.
Oh, well, but I
But I
mean,
was, you know, I tried, but you know, but I finished, and that's all that mattered. So
you know what that is? It's kind of that saying is like, what matters is what you do when people aren't watching. And even though people were watching, you know, it wasn't at that point, at some point, well, you didn't know until you got done, but you know, you did it and you
yeah,
know what you did. It doesn't
yeah,
have to be on display. You know what I mean? You know what you accomplished that day and nobody can take that from you.
yep,
That's what I love about it. You
for
kind
sure.
of did this one. What have you learned about yourself since starting? That was kind of that, right?
Yeah, this sport has taught me a lot. I feel like I've been in different places depending on because you know I've been doing triathlon for a little while as an adult, right? And as you go through different points of your life, your priorities change. And, I used to have the mentality of, okay, get faster, right? And work harder. And I just put too much pressure on myself to do that. And it was killing my love for the sport because I wasn't enjoying it. I was trying to get on podiums on the local races, and I was like, why am I doing this? So, and now I'm at a place where it's like I train and I race, so it, like, I guess, feeds my soul a little bit, to where, I don't ever, and you probably know this, but I don't put time goals to any of my training or to my races, but I set goals into where the result would actually end up in a faster time. So being able to swim relaxed and embrace the water, feel the water. If I'm able to do that, it's of course going to make me a little bit faster, right? Being able to have a higher cadence up the hills over time, that'll just get me faster. Same with the running. If I can keep my effort steady, going uphill, again, faster time. So I guess it's more of a mindset shift.
Mm-hmm.
And that way has worked for me better instead of trying to hit a specific time. Because when I do that, I just fall apart.
Yeah.
At least I feel like I fall apart, and it sets me up for disappointment if I don't make it.
Yeah. That's really good. I mean, you're talking about, fundamentals, really. It's sort of like, I just talked to the last interview I did was with Casey. He's a drummer, and we talk about this all the time. And it's like, you can't play fast unless you learn to play under control.
Mm-hmm.
And because you can play fast for a little while, but then you start blowing up and your whole head explodes. And it's the same thing with running. Is like, you can go out and do that and keep doing that, but until you can really control the process on the way up, then you're not going to be able to sustain, at that frantic, like goal that you might always have.
Yes. And
May pop in
yeah.
on occasion, but all right, let's move on to what you got coming up. I know
I've been going back and forth about this. Okay, so next year I'm having I'm going up in age group next year. So I'm going into the 55,
so
59 age group. So I feel like when I hit these, milestone birthdays, I want to do something bigger.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to do Little Elm in Texas.
Mm-hmm.
So that'll be the inaugural race, which I'm excited about and a little concerned because in Texas in March, it can be a little chilly, but we'll see. As long as I can kind of keep training all winter, I should be fine. I might have to get a thermal hood or something because the water's too cold. And then I'm going to do what's that?
What water is too cold for you?
If it's a lake water in Dallas in March, it may be like 60 something degrees.
Okay. I'm just curious. That's leading up to your next thought of what you might do next year.
Yeah. So I signed up for Madison Camp because I think I'm going to do the full in Wisconsin.
Hey.
I mean, it makes sense, right? I've been to camp there. I went and did the half, so I got to go back to camp again. And birthday present to myself is to do that full. I feel like I want to do something a little bit more challenging next year.
Yeah. Well, you know what you're getting into.
I need to ride that loop some more.
Well, you got the hills in Austin.
Yeah, and the descents and the climbs are not as crazy as they were on this bike adventure that I went on.
Oh no.
Hey, little dog. So hold on, let me get her out of here.
You mentioned Wisconsin, and the dog goes crazy.
Yes, she did. Probably because she knows I don't like to leave her.
Oh,
she's so little. But see, I can just pick her up and put her out here. So yeah, so that's what's on the agenda. I'm almost like you. I race a couple times a year and then I'm good.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you got 2 things on your list this year still.
I do. It's running season now, so 10 miler and half marathon in December.
That's good. I like it. I'd like to see you up at Wisconsin.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I love Madison. Madison's a cool town. To me, it feels very much like Austin.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Actually, they call uh, Austin of the North and Madison of the South.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah. I think it's a lot because of the university.
Yes.
State University is headquartered, but similar towns, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It has same vibe.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know. I guess those are your goals. I mean, you want to get to that Wisconsin, you want to do that something hard and crazy on your birthday or that
Yeah.
new age group. Uh, but I don't know if this is like, goals for life. I guess it is.
I am in awe of what was her name, Natalie Gabal, who just finished Kona, the
Oh,
80-year-old
yeah.
woman.
Yeah.
Amazing. So in awe of her. Not that I would ever or even get to Kona, but just to be as healthy and active as she is at
Mm,
80, senior goals for me. I really believe that she has just embraced that. Okay, keep your body moving. And triathlon is constantly working your brain too, just trying to figure things out. And mentally and physically, it's great for you. So as you age, I mean, I want that for myself to be sharp and fit like her, and still racing, right? Because I know the moment I stop moving, and I do that now. Like if I don't work out for 2 days, things start to just ache.
I know.
Yeah, and so it just would just keep me physically and mentally engaged. And yeah, I want to keep training and racing until I can't, whenever
Yeah.
that might be.
Yeah. Wow. What a simple point, but it's so powerful because, like as a coach, one of my things is, I'm putting in workouts all the time for everybody. And then maybe somebody takes a few days off and I'm like, oh man, maybe they just don't feel like it. But what you just said is what I always try, literally is movement is medicine. And
Hmm.
like, I don't care, if you do exactly what's on the schedule or whatever, but the if you don't, people that don't, and then the further they get away from it, the grumpier they get about it. And that's like
So hard to come
a good
back.
thing,
So
man. It's not
hard.
me. It's, I love that you said that because you got to make that decision on your own and own it and realize that that really is important.
Yeah, and I think also part of it now is me watching my parents age.
Yeah.
Um, where my dad still pretty good health. He's 83 now and still works part time at a golf course as a course like ambassador. He brings out the golf carts out of the barn every day, and every day, well, about 4 times a week. Drives it to the top of a hill and walks back down, gets the next one, and keeps going back up. He does like 30 times.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, no, it's really good. And I walked that hill, and that hill was like, ooh, okay. So, I mean, his calves are like
That's
on,
amazing. Yeah. I
on
know a guy who
fire.
does that too. A friend of my dad's old buddy. He does that. And
Yeah,
he's like sharp as a tack.
yeah. I mean, he checks people in on the iPad. So, I mean, he's mentally engaging himself too, talking to people. And then you have my mom. She's early dementia. She's 84. Um, and because of that, she's become a little bit more sedentary, doesn't like to go out, but I can see physically it's changing her.
Mm,
So I'm watching this happen to them and think about myself when I get to be that age, right? Um, so that's sort of where my head is around that.
mm.
because it's life. Something's gonna happen. I'm gonna get older.
Yeah. I mean, you can't cheat it or beat it forever, but it is one of those things, right? One of my things is like, if I felt really good yesterday and I'm in my 60s, if I felt good last week, I'm not that far from feeling really good. So but I can get that back because it's not that far away. But if it gets further and further away, it's harder to get back. So to me, it's kind of a propeller in a sense. It's like, I felt good yesterday or 2 days ago. That means I can still feel like that. But if that became 3 months ago or a year ago, and it's just hard, man. It gets harder the longer you let it go.
Yeah.
So
I agree. So that's life goal. Continue to be active. I've been enjoying this traveling thing, going to races in other cities, because it just gives me perspective on, other parts of the country and just different people, and, going to France to do a bike tour.
Shit, we didn't get into that. Let's go into that real quick. Just
Yeah, sure.
synopsis of that.
So this year I decided to take a little different approach to fitness and do something completely outside of the box, and tackle what's called the routes to Grand Alps or something like that. It's basically, you start up north, just south of Geneva, and you ride across these different passes and cols down south all the way to Nice, crossing different points of the French Alps. And I learned a lot about myself on that trip. Some things that I would do differently to prepare for it and to also complete it. I think if you did the route from start to finish, and I will say took the easier route, it was almost 500 miles, and about, I think, almost like 50,000 feet of climbing and descents. So I ended up with about almost 300 miles and 30,000 feet of climbing and descents. There's nowhere that I live near any mountains and hills that would have properly prepared me for those climbs and those descents, because they were so steep. Yeah, it was definitely out of my comfort zone. The first day, every day was maybe 60 miles, 10,000 feet of climbing every day. And I think the first day I made it maybe 2/3 of the way, because when you get into these mountains, your GPS stops working. You don't know where you are. And I couldn't read these signs. And so there was a guide that we had. And so the goal every day was to try and just to get to the lunch spot. If I can get to the lunch spot, which is pretty much in the middle, then I would be okay. But the first day I didn't even make it to the lunch spot. So I texted him and I was like, sent him a pin as to where I was. And I was like, can you come and pick me up? Because I have no idea where I am. And it was uncomfortable because I was by myself. We start out as a group, but then of course everybody breaks apart based on your pace, right? So being by yourself in a foreign country and nobody, you're in these small French towns, and it was hard to find somebody that spoke English. So I was like, okay, let me just figure it out. So I think that's where some of the training comes in. It's like, okay, look at my toolbox. How do I figure out how to get out of this situation?
Right. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. That was pretty difficult though. I would highly recommend it for anybody that has really wanted to experience something different. I don't know how to explain it, but it was enjoyable. It was hard. It was fulfilling. I mean, on the fourth day, I almost cried because it took me 4 days to get to the top of one of the harder climbs. And I could see where I needed to go, and I was only maybe 1,500 meters. And you could see where I needed to go, but I mean, it was steep.
Yeah.
And I was like, ugh, I just put my head down and I kept pedaling. And I mean, I was literally almost in tears. I was like, telling myself, don't stop. And I was saying it out loud because I wanted to get to the top.
Yeah.
And I got to the top and I was like, oh, finally. And the guide was like, are you going to descend down? I said, no. I said, I'm getting in the van. And you got to, and I was the only one that was in the van every day, but still, it was, it was my experience and I made it, work for me. And it was great. Yeah.
Wow. That's amazing. Wisconsin is going to feel like child's play to you.
I don't know. We'll see. Climbing on a triathlon bike is different than
but
a road.
it is. I mean, you got to admit it will give you like a different perspective for sure.
Mm-hmm.
You have to take that with you. And I know you love those descents.
Now, I don't think they'd be a problem. My hands were hurting because they were steep.
Yeah.
I mean, fast down switchbacks. I mean,
No
I think
guardrails. Yeah, that's interesting. That's good fun.
I did not. I didn't tell my husband how bad it was until the end of the tour. Because I didn't want him to worry about me. I was like, I'm fine. I'm good.
Oh, that's great. No big deal. Yeah. Well, all right. Well, thanks a lot for joining me. That was a great story there at the end, and a lot of good stuff in here. I appreciate you. I appreciate working with you. And
of course. Yeah, me too. I'm always happy to help.